Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Jubilife City Jukebox. My name is Ronk, you may also know me as Reese. And this is a show where we talk to your favorite content creators about their favorite Pokemon music. This is our second episode. I've got a very good friend with me today. You may know him from his YouTube channel, which has built up over 1 million views. You may know him as being the official ambassador of the color pink, or you may know him from editing some manner of horrific graphic moments after someone mentions it in chat. My friend, Haunted. Haunted, welcome.
That's me. That's what I do.
That's what he does. That's what he does. Are you ever going to tell me how you created that horrific, like, rotating Ronk?
No, industry secret. Unfortunately, I will be gatekeeping my methods.
I'll never forget that. That's truly the most horrifying thing I've ever seen on stream.
Yeah, I think Joji figured it out, but he's sworn to silence.
What? Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
Don't shake the man down.
I won't. All right. Speaking of which, like, how long have you been working on art? Because I mean, your art's fantastic. All your thumbnails, are made by you. How'd you get into it?
So I've been drawing my whole life, but not regularly and not very well. But
I don't know about that.
I like drawing my thumbnails because it allows me to draw like the one thing that I think that I'm good at drawing, which is Pokemon. I'm not good at like people and like anatomy and stuff, but man, can I draw a Pokemon.
Hell yeah. Is there like a certain time when you like got into art, or was it always just something you're working on?
Literally, like, as early as I can remember, one of my first memories is me drawing a Meganium with colored pencils.
That's great. That's glorious.
Like,
I love that.
One of my very first memories.
It's funny to hear from someone who's been drawing their whole life, because I am well documented a terrible artist. Terrible. So bad, in fact, I've told this story before. One of my teachers in grade school, I hated doing art. I hated it. And so I would never really try that hard. And one of my teachers hated how like anti-art I was, and she one day was like, "You and I are gonna go practice." And I was in like, I must have been in 7th grade. Okay, I was like probably like 11, 12, and she took me all the way down to the JK classroom, where the grade 4. This is your first year of school, or sorry, not grade 4, age 4, and she sat me down and got me coloring sheets from the JK class. And she's like, "You're going to practice here." And she gave me crayons, and she wouldn't let me leave until I colored in the lines.
I mean, she is right. Coloring is the most fun part. She knows what she's talking about. I just don't think that that's the right way to get a kid to do anything.
By far the weird. I was never a bad kid in school, but by far weirdest punishment I've ever received. I'm still not sure how I'm supposed to feel about that.
I don't know how any teacher could think that would like make you want to do something more. Kids famously love being forced to do things against their will.
Exactly. Yeah, this was the moment where I was like, you know what? You're so right. I love art now. This is the best thing ever.
And that kid grew up to become Pablo Picasso.
That's right. Me. So speaking of, we'll try to move on from art here. How did you get into Pokemon? Like, how long have you been playing these games?
So my first Pokemon game was Pokemon Gold. Not too long after it came out. So I got into Pokemon, believe it or not, before I could read. Okay. So my introduction to Pokemon, my cousin used to like come over to my house because the bus stop was like closer to it, and he'd like wait there in the morning before school. Mm-hmm. And early in the morning they'd play Pokemon episodes on I think it was like the WB, right, or whatever. Right. So that's how I got my first exposure to Pokemon, and then my first game was my cousin handing Pokemon Gold down to me when he was like done with Pokemon. He's like a real like Gen 1er that was just like done with it after the Pokemania phase.
Right.
So I got in very early.
Mm-hmm. Have you just been playing since then? Have you did you take any breaks, or has it just kind of been?
I did. I've taken 2 notable breaks. You may know what one of them is based on my general affect about Sinnoh region.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not gonna rip into it, but I did take a break, and this is actually part of like a script that I'm writing because I'm working on like my Ribbon Master project right now, and I'm in Gen 4. Mm-hmm. And that gen has always like, we just don't mesh vibes wise, me and the Sinnoh region, for whatever reason. It's not ripping on it, just doesn't work for me. So when that came out, I didn't vibe with Pokemon until Heart Gold Soul Silver came out.
Right.
And then my second break was Gen 7 because it was just too slow. I had too much going on at the time when Gen 7 came out to be like spending time like sitting through cutscenes, looking at a 3DS and stuff. Like I was working like 12 hours a day, and then the Gen
Mhm.
7 hype just kind of missed me.
I
I did
got
play
you.
the TCG a lot at that time though, and the anime was really hype.
Hmm. Yeah, my first break was around the same time. I kind of stopped at like Gen 6 and I didn't play 7 at all until, kind of recently.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to like giving Gen 7 its like fair chance, right? I'm all about, like actually formulating an opinion. So I do want to like take time where I like allow Gen 7 the time that it needs to grow on me, right? Because
Yeah.
the Alola region, very slow paced, relaxed. So I think I just got to chill out and meet it where it's at for a while to really get a feel for what other people see in the region that I don't.
For sure. And so with Pokemon and kind of art, you've managed to combine it in your own way. How did you get into content creation?
So that it's a weird question because in a way I've been making content, quote unquote, for like my entire life. It's
Hmm.
just taken so many different forms throughout the years. I just always have like this innate need to like, I guess, express myself or like be out there in some way. So like I think the first time I made content, I think I was like 12 on YouTube.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
was I was I was there for early YouTube, right? A lot of what influenced, I guess, my kind of beginning in content creation. Did you ever know there's one YouTuber, I might be dating myself here, named Mitchell Davis.
No, I don't think I have.
He was pretty old YouTube. He was one of like the first guys that were like doing almost excessive jump cuts. So that kind of
Okay.
like lends itself to the style that the way that I do things now.
Hmm.
Is like from like watching that. But he had this one video. It was just called Halo, and
Classic.
it was like a very early like idea of what Let's Plays would be. Not even Let's Plays, just like videos of like friends playing games, right?
Hmm.
But what I found interesting about it was there was no capture of the game. There was no like camera on the game. It was just a camera pointed at the two guys playing the game. And that's something that
Oh.
I started to find interesting in content is not like showing like what's not important is the game itself, but like the experience that you're having with it, I guess.
Right.
Like your reaction to it, the fun that you're having with it, and that's kind of like informed my philosophy since that moment.
Yeah, I think
So, oh,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say like I think Pokemon is like a perfect example of that, especially as you get older. Like it's not so much the games, especially once you've replayed them, 20 times, but just kind of like what you're doing on the outside, especially with shiny hunting cuz at the end of the day you're just doing the same thing over and over.
Exactly. Yeah, it's more like the story that you have to tell and how how you tell it, I guess.
Mhm. All right, so today I have asked you to bring 6 of your favorite Pokemon songs.
Yes,
Um
I have
and
taken that prompt however I felt like taking it. So some of them are not necessarily my favorite, so to speak, Pokemon songs, but they're significant to me in a way that like deserves to be talked about in my mind.
Perfect. Well, then let's get started. What's the first one you got for me?
The first song I got for you, buddy, it's used in a few places, but I recognize it as the Lake of Rage theme.
Right. So it's I think the first it's used is Route 42, which is what gold. You
Yes.
said Gold, Silver, Crystal, right?
Yep.
A classic. A classic. Composed by Junichi Masuda. I can't hear that song without hearing the Gen 4 like rain from Lake of Rage. The sound effect.
Yeah.
I cannot hear that song without that. It feels like it's missing every time I hear it.
Well, did you play Gen 2 like when it came out, or well, I guess you're younger than me, aren't you?
Yeah, I started with Pearl, so I
Okay,
never played
yeah.
it when it came out.
So I guess that's the first time that you heard it. So like hearing the Heart Gold Soul Silver version's like a more like layered, updated version for me.
Yes. What was the reason you brought 42? What have you what have you got? Like, what's the story behind this one?
So the story behind it and the significance of Lake of Rage as a location to me, is as I mentioned, I got my start in Pokemon from a hand-me-down copy of Pokemon Gold.
Mm-hmm.
when I booted up that game for the first time, it was still on my cousin's save file, and it was saved at the Lake of Rage. So
okay.
that song to me is like deeply ingrained in my brain as like the sound of like the beginning of an adventure, which as a whole is my adventure with Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Yeah. For this song to kind of be like your first foray into like Pokemon music as a whole. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, as one of my notes, I have it's very Johto, which I think is true. It has that Johto
it's
sound.
Extremely Johto. That's something I love about it.
Yeah, and it's also, like you said, it's very adventurous. It almost sounds like a Legend of Zelda like overworld music. It's almost got that same.
It really does. Yeah, I love it. I love the drums in it. The little like.
The Gen 2 sound font's so good. I like it too.
Oh,
I really like that one. All right, so we've got our first down. What is the second one you've brought to me?
The second one is also one with a story attached. I have brought you Route 111 from Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald.
What's the story behind this one?
All right, so Route 111 is the place that I found my first shiny Pokemon ever. Completely at random, copy of Ruby. I was just playing one day, going through the desert, doing whatever, who knows. Mm-hmm. And I found a completely random shiny Cacnea. Which I don't know if you know, Cacnea's Gen 3 shiny sprite is awesome.
It's so good.
It is like way darker red or orange than it is like in later generations, and it looks like really fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big fan of it. But Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, very important to me. Those are my first new generation experience with Pokemon.
Were those the first ones you like owned on your own? Like that you bought yourself?
Those were the first. I got Ruby and Sapphire together for Christmas, and then Emerald is the only third version game I ever received. I got Emerald when it came out too.
Mm-hmm.
So Gen 3, I had every game. I played Sapphire continuously from Christmas morning until nighttime, until I went to bed. I beat Sapphire the day I got it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I went through like 8 sets of batteries in like a day.
Gen 8 or Gen 8, Gen 3 are like longer games too. They're not like super short.
Yeah, it was a problem. I was getting yelled at for like not socializing at my grandma's house. I was really into it, man.
I respect that. Yeah, 111's a great song. Composed by Go Ichinose, which is, half of what we hear is by this guy, of course. And I think, unless I'm mistaken, it's the first like desert track we got for Pokemon. And probably the grooviest that we've got. As I put it down as the grooviest song in Hoenn. I'm not sure if that's true. I think that's subjective, but
I have trivia wrong. I bring something to contribute to the podcast.
Okay.
You know why you like Route 111 so much?
I don't know.
It is very similar to the underground theme from Sinnoh, especially like at the very beginning and like at like the 40-second-ish mark of the underground theme in Sinnoh.
Oh my God, you're right.
Very similar songs.
That's funny. I wonder who made the underground theme. Was it also Go Ichinose?
I would assume so. I don't know if they're like being referential to each other or if it's just like a coincidence, but they are pretty similar.
It is very similar. Yeah, like my only memories, or like my favorite memories from Route 111, it's very reminds me of summer. I always link all these Pokemon games and songs to like seasons. And I remember I have a park right by my house, and this was back in grade school at some point. And me and my friends were all sitting at the park. It was like super hot summer day, and I was catching the Reggies. So that's this song is like intrinsically linked with summer for me. I love this song.
Yeah, and I mean it feels like a warm song too, given the desert theme.
It's got that sound. All right, we've got 2 down. What is the third song you've brought for me here?
Dude, I love the third one. I wish I would have been listening to them on the side while I was talking about them, but it's the Coliseum Normal Battle theme, which I know is kind of weird to pick the normal battle theme, but it's just so good.
Yeah, I had to go back and double check. I think I'm more used to the like Team Snag'em battle theme, because the normal battle theme doesn't play as often, I think, because you're always in like the dungeons in that game.
Yeah, but I really like the normal battle theme.
It's a classic. Composed by Tsukasa Tawada from Genius Sonority, and of course it is, because anytime you hear a Genius Sonority song from like Coliseum or whatever, it all sounds like the same guy.
Yeah,
he's got such a distinct sound. I think my favorite part of the whole song is that guitar line at the start, like the whole weird like so MIDI guitar. Oh, incredible!
I like 20 seconds ish in when the strings come in. It's like heavenly, dude.
It's a great song, and for a battle theme, most of the battle themes we've heard up to this point were kind of like not intense, but you know, they sounded like battle themes. This one could have been like anything else. It's a very like laid back kind of
it feels
song.
like a fun, playful kind of battle almost, you know? Like
yeah.
That's what I like. Like it's like if you were to have like in universe a battle just like with your buddy, like if this podcast was a Pokemon battle, that could be the soundtrack to it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like there are like stakes, you know. There's nothing like there's nothing like on the line with that song.
Yeah. I like it a lot, dude.
Do you have a specific reason you chose it, or is it just a good song?
Coliseum and XD are pretty special to me. Is, you know, Gen 3 being like my first like full gen, naturally those games came pretty shortly after 2005 or 2004. And so I played a bunch of those. I was super obsessed with the protag from Coliseum, Wes. I thought he had so much aura, dude.
He's the coolest protagonist, dude. He's the coolest.
Yeah. You know how in his design he's got like that weird like white stripe across his face?
Yes.
I used to lay outside at like the park and like in my yard and stuff with a rubber band across my face to like tan my face like that. I was such a loser, dude. It was awesome.
Crazy. I love that.
Yeah, it was really lame and didn't work.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm working on it. I'll get it down eventually.
Yeah, I love Wes too, dude. Like the first, most of the protagonists are kids. But I'm like Coliseum starts with him blowing up a building. Like the dude is
like a felon.
he's a terrorist.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Kind of based.
Plus, like the starters are Umbreon and Espeon. That's insane. Like that's the coolest imagine, starter.
That's where I got the whole Espeon. That's where I started with that.
That's sick. That's so good. I love that. Yeah, that's a great song. You know, again, I don't feel like you hear it a lot, but like when you hear it, you immediately think it's Coliseum. You know, it's Genius Sonority.
Yeah.
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption. I just wanted to say once again, thank you to Haunted for joining me on the podcast. If you like his stuff, make sure you go check it out at 2Haunted4u on YouTube. This is just a quick reminder that if you enjoy the pod, you could go and support me on Patreon at patreon.com/wrong475, where you will get early access to the song lists, a patron exclusive cut of the podcast with extra content, as well as the video version of the podcast and early access to all of my YouTube videos. So if you've got some time and you want to go check that out, that's patreon.com/wrong475. Thanks again for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the podcast. All right, we're halfway through. What is the fourth song you've got?
I figured halfway through is when I start hitting you with the bangers. That's I think that we're gonna go full court press with the bangers with Champion Iris's theme, which is my favorite champion theme.
Composed by Hitomi Tanaka, who is another composer where she has like written so many of like the fan favorites. Like Route 209 was her. If you go through like her Rolodex, it's just banger. Everything she does is insane. So is there a reason in specific you chose this one? Do you have a story behind it?
For one, I'm a Unova boy.
Beautiful.
For two, dude, it is just such a good champion theme. Like I know everyone thinks, well, they probably rightfully think that Cynthia's is a banger because it is. But I really love Iris's theme. And I don't know if it's just like the whole like context of it, like having met Iris in the previous games years ago in real time and then like fighting against her as the champion like 2 years later in real time. But it's also like the presentation of it, like the champion room in Gen 5 is gorgeous. And it does like the whole 2 screen spanning like verses cut in. And it's really cool. I love it. Plus Iris's team is awesome, dude.
What I love about it too is like comparing it to Cynthia's, for instance. Cynthia's immediately feels like you're in danger. Like the piano line immediately, it's like you're in trouble. This one it's neat because it starts off very like light. It's like very triumphant. It's like almost celebrating that you've got this far, because it's like, Iris, you've like you said, she's in the game before, you kind of know her as a character. But once it drops into that groove, you're like, okay, like I might be in trouble.
Like, oh, that's the dragon dance. I'm about to get earthquaked by this Haxorus. Exactly.
It's a really neat song. It's got a lot of like bells and twinkly bits too. It's like ear candy. Yeah.
And it really fits like the new champion outfit that they gave her too, like the twinkly bits with like the big goofy dress. Like it really is a complete package.
Another thing I noticed that you don't hear a lot in Pokemon. Pokemon music tends to stay like, I shouldn't say in 4/4, but it's very like on beat. But the first once like the groove drops in, there's like a melody line that like gets pushed and pulled like rhythmically. It's like a rhythmic modulation, which you don't hear a lot, but it's done so well you almost don't notice it.
That's kind of a Gen 5 thing. I've noticed that in a few songs in Gen 5. They for sure experimented with that.
It's a real great song. I really liked it. I that's one I hadn't listened to a lot because I'd played Black and White 2 when it came out, and I played through it in probably 2 days, like most games, and then I haven't touched it since. So I haven't heard this song aside from maybe in a YouTube video like since then. So it was super nice to come back to it and give it another go.
You gotta go back and play Black and White.
I love Black and White. It's Black and White 2 specifically I have not played since. I'm getting there though. We're working on it.
Gotta get you on my Join Avenue, dude.
Yeah. All right, we've got 2 left here. What's your 5th one?
Is it Bede or Bade? Because in like the song they go like Bade in the background. It's Bede's theme, the Bede's battle theme from Gen 8.
From Sword and Shield, composed again by Goichi Noze. I don't even know if it's even worth mentioning half the time.
Classic.
Everyone knows this one for one reason, or at least I know it for one reason. It's the slap bass,
dude. It goes
bro.
So crazy.
It's crazy.
I love it so much.
It's so funny in Gen 8, and especially in Sword and Shield, they found this slap bass MIDI, and they're like, yeah, put that in every song. Like,
and I love them for it. I do.
It's so crazy. That's what I have in my notes here specifically. Slap bass and the synth sections make it sound like Sword and Shield. Like, it's got that sound.
Sword and Shield has such a good sound overall, I think. I think that it's their whole vibe. They really nailed it.
I completely agree. It's a great soundtrack. I think it's underrated too. I feel like not enough people kind of give it
very
credit.
Much so. There's a few songs from it that are not very well known that I use a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Is there a specific reason you chose this one? Do you have a story behind it?
I think I just really like the song and think it's a banger, but I also really like the character and his whole arc throughout the game. I think that's really cool, and I think that'd be like a really interesting thing to revisit if we were to ever go back to the Galar region. I'd love to see where he's at, like as a person, as a trainer, as a gym leader.
Yeah, he is an interesting character. He starts off as like very silver, where he's just like, yeah, I'm better than you.
Very, yes.
Get out of the way.
He has a very he's a lot more of an antagonist early on.
100%. Yeah, as someone who plays bass, like very often you hear people be like, oh, play this song, and everyone says Bede, and there are sections in here that I don't think are like, they're not humanly possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the really fast ones. Because I don't know if you knew this. I was also a bass player.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was a guitarist too for quite a while. I just kind of dropped it years ago. Yeah, I love bass heavy stuff. Yeah,
unless you were like double thumbing, I don't think it's possible to slap that.
I don't think that it is possible. No.
But I think that's the fun of it. I love hearing slap bass lines that you cannot play. That's great. All right, we've come down to our last one, and I mean, I'll break the illusion. I already know this one, and it's a great choice. But
yeah,
what do you got for me?
I brought you the Penny battle theme, or Cassiopeia, whatever. But the absolute hard style banger that is, I have brought for you.
Oh. It's so good. So before we get into it, I've got, of course, our episodic composer corner here. So our composer corner today is on a guy named, it looks like Teruo Taniguchi. So he's a Japanese composer working for a company called Super Sweep. Super Sweep is like a Japanese sound and music production company. It looks like they were founded around 2000. So before working with Game Freak for the first time, he did sound and kind of music just for like various Wii and DS games. For instance, he did sound for a DS game called Nostalgia in 2008. He composed the music for Naruto Clash of Ninja Revolution 2 from 2008 for the Wii. So he did some composing, but mostly it seemed to be like he did a lot of sound effects. Like he was in the sound department for a lot of things. And so in 2012, on Black and White 2, actually, he did his first work with Game Freak, and he just did like random sound effects. I've got a few listed here. He did Immortalized in Pokestar Studios, the Participation Prize Medal, Medal Rally Complete, and X Transceiver Game Start and Game 1. So it's like these little ditties.
Those are good.
They are. They're not. There's nothing wrong with them, but it's like,
yeah, those are nice little jingles.
We have him to thank. And so he worked in the sound department again for Pokemon Quest in 2018, where he did sound effects again. He was the sound director for Tetris 99, and then worked on sound effects for Pac-Man 99 in 2019 and 2021. So he's obviously been around. And then in 2022, worked on Legends Arceus on sound effects. So like, everyone talks so much about the sound design in Arceus, and I guarantee this is the guy we have to thank. Everything's crispy because of him.
This could be the Bertleding guy. You never know.
It could be. You never know. And then finally, in 2023, which brings us to this song, he was a composer for Scarlet and Violet, where he was in charge of all of the Team Star music. All of it.
Nice. He's basically Giacomo, but real.
It's crazy. Like he went from like doing these little like sound effects for a third-party company to coming to, this flagship Gen 9 game, and they're like, yeah, go compose like all the music for this whole team. And all of it's like very dude, he killed it. It's all of like very heavy, very like techno rock stuff. He's a fucking beast. I love this guy.
Yeah, it's awesome. Team Star's music is great.
So back to the song itself. Is there a reason you chose this one, or is it just an absolute banger?
Dude, this is like the first time a Pokemon song has legitimately like left me speechless, because it like took me so off guard to hear it at all, because I've been like an electronic music guy for like a long time. I've always liked it, at least. But to hear a hardstyle song in a Pokemon game took me so incredibly off guard. It's
crazy. It really is like nothing else that's been written for Pokemon music before.
Yeah, I was like, they're really going for it, man.
Like, even coming back and listening to it again, when I heard like, it starts off with like the dirtiest, most distorted 808 I've ever heard in a Pokemon game or outside.
Yeah. As soon as I heard that, I was like, no way. They're not going there, are they? But like, I don't know. I kind of, when knowing like Penny as a character, I'm like, they're going there.
Yeah.
But I love it so much. It's one of the Pokemon songs I listen to the most, like to this day. The synths
at the start are very, I don't know if you've ever played Undertale, but I forget the name of the song. Whatever Flowey's theme is near the end. It's like all the synths sound like heavy machinery. They're like super like they're distorted, but also they're like off key with each other right at the start. And like, I don't know, it's again, like nothing you've heard in Pokemon before. Everything is usually very light, very like nice.
Yeah, that's it. It's very unexpected from Pokemon. And like, I think more than the song itself, the idea of like Pokemon opening up its music to like more like real life genres really excites me.
Yeah,
because that could go in so many really cool directions.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that, but I think you're completely right. It feels like real world music, 100%.
I think that's going to allow them to do some really cool stuff really soon, and I'm really excited for it.
I really hope so, especially like depending on where the region is, the next region or whatever. I think it's a great start, and I hope this guy comes back. I hope Teruo comes back, because he's a fucking beast.
Let him keep making stuff. He's cooking.
Put him back on, man. Put him back in.
Get him back in the kitchen.
In particular, my favorite spot is definitely like there's that. It's genuinely like a hardstyle build up into like the main melody, that main like recurring theme. It's so good, dude. Yes. What a song. What a song. Well, there's your 6, dude. That's an insane list. I'm excited to see some of these, because I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel like we'll see all of these again. They're great songs.
You know what? I think you invited me just so you'd have someone that didn't bring Route 209 twice in a row.
Listen, I'm gonna bring 209.
I wouldn't.
If I could interview myself, bro, top of my list, 209.
It's a good song, but
It is. I mean, what can you do? So of these 6, I know you said they're not necessarily favorites, and you've got stories linked to all of them. Do you think you could choose one of the 6 to be like a favorite?
Oh man, maybe Bede. I think that the slap bass kills it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very listenable.
Honestly, going back and listening to them all again, I might have to say my favorite is Champion Iris. I don't know why I liked it so much.
It's really
maybe it's just because
good.
it feels new to me because I haven't listened to it in so long. But man, what a good track!
Yeah, it really does a good job as a Champion theme. It feels very, end of the journey.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. All right, so before we move on to the Patreon section here, I just want to thank you for joining me again. I apologize because I still don't really know what I'm doing. I'm still figuring it out.
I don't think you have to know what you're doing.
You're right.
And if you do, I'm in big trouble.
All right, so before we move on and before I say goodbye here, do you please plug any upcoming projects, any channels you've got? What have you got going on?
The youtube.com/@2Haunted4u, I make shiny hunting videos, I guess. I'm pretty new to that game still. But I'm really having fun with it. That's the main place that I make stuff. I don't stream right now, but the YouTube, man, I'm working on some cool shiny hunting projects right now.
There's some real good stuff on there. If I had to recommend one, my favorite is the Spotify playlist one. That's a great video.
People liked that one. I'm glad.
It's a good one.
I was very cautious to do that because I don't know if people were gonna make fun of me for listening to Charlie XCX or something. Shut me in a locker.
No, come on. All right. Well, thanks for joining me, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was awesome.